Damn it, fellas. Look here. Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Joy Eagle, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the Power Band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, the Wolverine, along with my single companion, Slave 2 Weeks.
What's up?
Welcome to the show, folks. This week, we're talking about the 1998 Academy Award-winning classic.
Shaving.
Which one should I say? Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Thank you.
Finally. Chad is finally happy because we're doing Shaving Ryan's Privates. And Benny is not here this week, so it's a twofer with just me and Chad. Of course, we picked a war movie, and we probably picked one of the best ones ever.
As is tradition. War movie.
Right? So let's dive in.
High level.
You want to go? Yeah, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. I don't really know where I want to go with my high level, but I think on the one hand, I've always been kind of interested in World War II. You know, I think we've talked about it quite a few times. Like, as a kid, I had the kind of like illustrated books of all of the tanks and planes and guns and all of that, like G.I. Joe kind of shit that I was really into.
I didn't know that.
Well, just, you know, like normal stuff, but also just like having those like books that have all the, you know, it's like a B-17 with like 100 little paragraphs with little arrows like pointing, you know, I'd fucking just pour over that kind of stuff. And then having G.I. Joes and all that kind of shit. So like the traditional boyhood worship of, you know, G.I. Joe shit. And I think I bring that up because it's obviously disconnected from the reality and the horrors of war in general. And then, you know, I think with World War II, you generally speaking have a clear-cut case of what I would consider good versus evil, you know? I mean, that was some pretty crazy shit that went down, whereas sometimes and many times and maybe even most of the time, it's not as clear. It's usually like territory pissing match, dick measuring bullshit that unfortunately throws bodies into a meat grinder. So it's like the clarity of the purpose of World War II as you move out of being an immature kid and not understanding things, like the clarity of purpose is interesting. And then I think as you get a little bit older into your teenage, well, as I got older into my teenage years, I don't really think I understood maybe the sacrifice or I don't know, maybe just sacrifice that my grandfather's generation did. And up until this movie, for me at least, there wasn't as real of an attempt to communicate what happened. And this is obviously before Band of Brothers, etc. And so like old school war movies I always found to be a little bit like John Wayne hero worship-y,
vanilla,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, this is post-Vietnam as well. So like, I don't know how it all mixes together, but for me, maybe, and for maybe people my age, this was probably one of the big movies that was just like a gut punch, and it kind of made me really appreciate the efforts of the people in World War II.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I haven't looked into it. I didn't really like read much about the next idea, but like, I feel like this is like a neo-war movie where it was like the first of the new generation of more realistic or more attempting to be kind of like historic in nature. And maybe not movie, but like media. So like Band of Brothers and the Pacific and the new one, I can't remember the name of it, the airborne one, are all excellent.
Masters of the Air.
Thank you, Masters of the Air. They're all excellent.
Sure.
Attempts at educating. And they're compelling drama, you know, like, so this one blew my socks off when I was a teenager, and I went through a period where I kind of appreciated it less, maybe as other things like A Band of Brothers, in my opinion, kind of eclipsed it in the realness. There's definitely some Hollywood elements to the story here, but like at the time it was very, very groundbreaking and have a lot of time for it. Like it's definitely a legendary status for me. So there's a lot there in the high level, but that's kind of like the headspace.
That was a really nice high level, dude.
Thanks.
Really nice. Hang on one second. Just got to put this phone on silent or it'll drive me nuts. Sorry.
It's all good, man.
So, I agree with I'll all right. My high level will be as such. So let me start by saying, on the point of realistic war movies, I agree with you for the most part. I was going to say the same thing. Like, I feel like this was the neo war movie that kind of started it all off, like a new wave. But
Yeah.
as I started thinking about it while you were talking, I was like, you're forgetting Platoon, you're forgetting Full Metal, and you're forgetting Hamburger Hill. So
yeah, I think I'm going more with the World War II.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah, you're good,
What I'm in, and as far as World War II movies go, you're 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
As far as the realism, I know, but I'm saying as far as the realism of war, those three movies I feel like started the trend.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, and if anybody out there is thinking of something that we're not, please let us know on Instagram, because those movies were graphic and those movies were intense. You know what I mean? Apocalypse Now kind of as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, as far as World War II movies, true. But as far as World War II movies, this is definitely like, this was like intense. I mean, it's like, it was hard to watch some of the bodies getting freaking blown up and shit today. Like,
yeah, sure.
When I was younger, it didn't bother me. Now that I'm a father, it's hard. It's hard to watch. And so I agree with you. Like, this thing was so gritty and so real and so good. And I forgot like everybody that was in it too, man, because I haven't watched it in many years. You know, I've seen Band of Brothers within the last 2 years because Band of Brothers. It's like one of the best shows ever made, certainly about this subject, you know. But to kind of keep my high level, like, sort of commercial, I'll just say that on a surface level, like, this is an excellent movie. It won numerous Academy Awards, and rightly so. The realism is incredible. The music is, if I'm being honest, pretty good. I don't love it. The effects are incredible. The realism is incredible. The violence is incredible. The story is incredible. It totally tugs at your heart. I really fight hard not to cry at the end of this movie every time I watch it. And this time I failed again. You know, it's really, really intense. And it's just, it's good. If anything, it's not long enough, you know, and we'll get into that later. So
yeah,
that's my, the short of it, high level.
Yeah. I think just to tack an 11sies on there, I think I misspoke a bit where it's the neo-realism in World War II, and it's the neo-realism in combat footage for me. Because you've got
I agree.
You know, Apocalypse Now is it's one of my favorite movies ever. It is an Alice in Wonderland version, a psychedelic version. And it's, Heart of Darkness and stuff. So like there's a lot going on there. Cool. But like you said, Platoon, all those movies. I mean, you got like Deer Hunter, for example, is excellent from a psychological breakdown point of view. And then
that's like the best PTSD movie.
Yeah. Like there's tons of Vietnam-ish stuff around this. Maybe not tons, but there's enough of it around this time where like it's like processing the fucking problems that came back. And it actually is an interesting segue into like, I remember like there were no 9/11 movies for like 12 plus years after 9/11. It was almost like society needed, at least American society needed to kind of process shit, and or it was like a don't touch it, we're not ready nervousness. And I'm curious how much of that was present with this movie or Band of Brothers. Not that the society wasn't ready, but it was like society wasn't ready to actually see what their grandmothers and grandfathers did. In the realist of terms. Like I was reading some nuggety shit where like, you know, as I'm sure you picked up, which I never did watching this, but you know, this is Normandy, and like Ryan is in the 506, which is the same as Band of Brothers. So like
is it?
Yeah. So
Because when they finally encounter Ryan, one of the guys says, "Oh, I'm from Easy Company," and I was like, "Yo,
it is the Easy Company," and he was in
right."
what does he say? Baker Company. So
Correct.
it's obviously it's alphabetical, so you got A, B, C, D, E, E for easy, I believe. I suppose like now's a really good time for me to just like raise my hand and say like, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. I'm not a military expert. I have not served. I'm an armchair general. So like just to say that out loud, because I hate when people fucking act like they're goddamn experts on shit that they're not. So this is like, as a fan of the material, this is interesting for me, but I'm not at all fucking talking like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So just like caveat there. But this is the 506. So Colonel Sink is the head of the 506. Then 506 oversees Baker and Easy and all that stuff. And it turns out that this movie subject matter is fictitious. So like there was no French town at the end with the bridge that was made up. There was no Miller. There was no Ryan. But it was based on these Nyland brothers who died. And it turns out that those two brothers grew up with Skip Muck from Easy Company, like a real, that was a real thing. And so I was reading about like Skip Muck, and I was trying to remember, because I just watched Band of Brothers on the plane on the way back from the States like a few months ago. So like I was like in a fugue state of being in a fucking plane for 20 hours, watching hours and hours and hours of it. But like obviously I enjoyed it. Of
course.
So like Muck was good friends with Malarkey and Picala, and he died. They got a direct hit in Bastogne in one of their holes. And there was an anecdote that I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds plausible, where Muck's family didn't know what had happened to him, other than the like, your son died and is buried in Belgium. And it wasn't until the show and book came out, and probably the book, where they learned what happened on a day-to-day basis with their dad or grandfather.
That's
and so like
freaking crazy.
It wouldn't surprise me if like society at large, Spielberg was in his early 50s when he put this together. So he would have been, the child, like a boomer child. And it kind of aligns with the time where people like him were seeking the truth of their parents and potentially finding out the reality of how much heroism and or horror there was. And like, it kind of feels like America was ready for Saving Private Ryan at that time, where it like kind of wasn't ready before that, especially coming after Vietnam, where everyone's like fucking hating on soldiers and stuff. So like, I feel like it was kind of a perfectly placed in time moment, because like I was
wow
17 and it fucking blew my socks off. I went and saw it in the theater, like when it was like it was like a brand new thing, and I went and saw it, and I just remember just like walking out like zombified, you know what I mean? Like I was just like, holy shit. And so I just find that interesting. It's totally an 11s, but I think it's interesting that it's like society was ready for it and it caught on. And there's an anecdote in the IMDb bullshit where Spielberg made it for his father and expected it to be a total failure, and he was surprised that it did well. So like even he might not have known how perfectly timed it was from a like we were ready to see it point of view, but man, it was a phenomenon.
Wow, that's a really, really great thing you said. I think you're right. I think that the timing was everything, because all those movies that came out before that, the ones that were kind of vanilla that we talked about, like not necessarily like Kelly's Heroes, but I mean, essentially every other World War II movie, like all the John Wayne ones,
the John Wayne shit.
Like all the,
or even Patton for fuck's sake.
Guns of Navarone, Sons of Navarone, like all of that stuff. Like it was always very light on the blood and the horror and all that. It didn't really show what it was really like. And I think it would have been hard to do that with a lot of the people from that war and generation still alive and walking around. And I think in 98, it was different and you could do it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of those people had passed, you know what I mean? Or were close to it. Like I seem to remember like Band of Brothers, I think like Winters was like in his like mid to late 70s when that came out. Like actual Winters, you know what I mean? And so
many of the guys that died,
I think you're onto something, man. Like I think everybody was ready finally to be like, don't sugarcoat it anymore. What's it really like? Especially after having kind of been broken in with like Platoon and Full Metal and Hamburger Hill, like all of those had really graphic elements to it. You know, like Stanley Kubrick's not the type of guy that pulls punches. And really, honestly, neither is Oliver Stone, dude. You know what I mean? So I'm not really, I mean, there was a lot of blood and guts in those and a lot of like horrible things that you were.
And it was anger.
And you were seeing,
you know,
yeah.
Like it was like, yeah, anger at the uselessness of that particular war. And we lost that war and all of that kind of, you know, we treated our soldiers like shit and all the political craziness.
Yeah, on top of it being like, an utter waste. Yeah, everybody was hating on all the troops.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, you don't hate on the troops. The troops they don't make those decisions, man.
No, they're paid from the neck down, dude. Like,
exactly. So, that's a really great comment and a great way to kick off this excellent episode, which, by the way, is sponsored by. I'm kidding.
By Athletic Greens.
I feel like. Sorry, I'm like exactly, dude.
That's the best.
No, it's like
that's the best fucking bullshit.
I feel like
segment.
all the there's a lot of like podcasts I like and listen to, and some shows that I watch like on YouTube. And it's like they always do that, man. Like I watch I watch
super heartfelt moment about society. And it's like, yeah. So, anyways, NordVPN.
Exactly. There's like there's a guy that I watch on YouTube, and like he does a podcast, right? But they also will break it into clips, right? And like good clips, like 12-minute clips, you know. And he is the master of the clip is playing, and I'm invested. I'm like into it, and I'm like, oh, I'm bookmarking in my head, like I need to listen to this whole episode. And then all of a sudden, he's like. He seems to slide right into, by the way, we've got these hats and these shirts. These are fantastic and you're going to love them. We're only making about 100. And I'm like, wait, what just happened? Where did the clip go, dude? You know what I mean? Like,
so a sticky bomb, you take a GI issue sock and you put it in axle grease. And have I told you that Bombas socks are one of the best socks in most countries? It's like, wait, what?
Oh my God. It's so funny. I hear it's like every show is like that, man. And by the way, Athletic Greens. Yeah, totally. Athletic Greens.
If only they had Athletic Greens in Bastogne.
Oh my God, man. Totally. It's so funny.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that's like the meta of the film.
I like that. And you know, having after, you know, obviously having watched Band of Brothers end to end probably 3 times, I think. Like I was watching this and I was like, dude, this is the progenitor of that show. Like that show wouldn't have got made without this movie.
This laid the groundwork for.
And then I also was thinking, when
I
was watching the Normandy scene, I was like, you know, these guys are. It was awful, man. I forgot how awful it was, and I was like, an easy company is parachuting in somewhere over there to the left. You know what I mean? Like, it's all happening at the same time as the events of that series. You know, like I just was like, wow, that's so cool, man. You know. Really, really cool stuff. Wild.
Yeah, no doubt. It is interesting that this laid the groundwork, especially, you know, Spielberg and Hanks.
Totally.
Like, they took this as a launch pad to be able to fund
those two things
and do all of Band of Brothers, you know.
Were they
I remember watching a bunch of making of shit. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was Band of Brothers, but one of the things that stuck with me was like they developed the air cannon explosion in and around this production.
Air cannon explosion?
So, like,
is that what you said?
Yeah. And so, like, from memory, and it's probably been 15 years since I've heard this, so I'm kind of making up some of this stuff. But it was like before this production, or maybe around this time, in the same sense that like Mando did the volume, you know, like it was like taking a technology or an idea and developing it, and then it becomes kind of industry standard, you know? And so like, I remember seeing that doing an explosion, like an artillery shell coming in and hitting someone, was not overly achievable in camera without digital effects. And the digital wasn't quite there at the time without it looking really like shit or whatever. And so I'm not sure who did it, probably the effects, the practical effects team, but they developed like a hole in the ground with like a cover over it and sand on it. And then it had like this air cannon. And so if you stepped on this button, it would actually like blow you up into the air like a stunt person. And so it actually like made it so that the stunt person literally set the thing off, and it was like a giant squib, so to speak. And like it made it look like damn
So it was
real.
basically, yeah.
And I just remember. No, you're good. Yeah, it was just like the first instance of, maybe not the first, but it was like a huge step forward in practical effects in that kind of battle space kind of idea. Like they were bringing some new ideas to the
There's
team.
nothing cool like
And
practical effects are the shit, dude.
I just remember being blown away by the reality of this movie in particular. I mean, you've got the opening 25-minute Normandy scene, and then you've got the closing 25-minute Bridge City kind of battle, and like it is balls to the fucking wall, dude.
It is.
The scale of it is such that you can't fake it. Like the fact that it was practically done, and it was like the fucking blimps and shit in the air with digital. Who gives a shit? But the fact that there's like 15 cameras out there, and Spielberg's like, just shoot whatever you think makes sense, and we're all going to be fucking running around, and it ended up feeling very, 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 very real. Like you felt like you were there, to the point where I remember, like I used to landscape, and I used to buy the newspaper every day at lunch and read it, and there was day after day after day after day of veterans leaving the theater freaking out from PTSD. Yeah. This is the most realistic war movie ever. Like front page of the fucking news. Like hubbub.
To that end, early nugget. This is there was a hotline set up by Veterans Affairs to help people that were experiencing PTSD from watching this movie.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
And another thing too is that this episode is sponsored by Athletic Greens.
Speaking of caring for our veterans,
I know, folks. This is a serious movie, but you know how we are.
But we're fucking around. The other one too, which I thought was interesting, was it was like a fly by wire kind of thing where the triggers on the guns were electronically triggering the squibs on the other person, which I thought was interesting.
That is cool.
Like, it brought about like a much more real
that
situation,
is like that is a quantum leap right there, dude. Like the idea of the air mine too, right? Because it's essentially a mine with nothing in it but air, right? So
it's not dangerous. Like, so none of the insurance fuckheads are going to stop it.
Right. So it's like all you have to do is set up mats around it and put some rubble there. You make the rubble out of cork or whatever, and it's like boom. You step on the quote mine, and then it's like boom. You shoot up in the air. It's like,
but you're in
right.
camera,
No, and it looks
like
real.
You're not having to do all this shit.
That's super cool.
And I feel like a lot of the shit that they learned in this production paid dividends with Band of Brothers. Like Band of Brothers for me is very much like the quintessential. It's like the Wire of war media, where like the Wire is a show about the American,
experience,
the American city, and Band of Brothers is World War II. This is what it's like. It's got its thing. It's got its stuff that like. I remember like Malarkey was, there was an interview with him where he was upset that there was the episode where they go to the concentration camp. He's like, we never went to a concentration camp. He's like, yeah, I know, dude. But like narratively, we need to talk about the fact that there was concentration camps.
And I think the broader way to label those two things would be this and Band of Brothers are about war, whereas The Wire is about crime.
Yeah, I would say it's about the American city or American society. Like that was what I thought was so interesting about The Wire, is like you come for the crime show and stay for the fucking schools falling apart in season 4, dude. Like it's like it blows your fucking socks off with the like season 1. You're like, holy shit, I want to see what's next. And then you boot up season 2 and it's on the fucking docks and you're like, wait, what? This isn't the show that what? And then by the end of season 2, you're like, that was awesome. And then you know what I mean? It's like
so good.
Literally, David Simon says, he's like, we wanted to make a show about the American city.
Okay, all right,
the current state of the American city.
Yeah, well, I like that.
I feel like this and Band of Brothers is like the reality of World War II, the reality of combat and World War II, as opposed to the heroization of combat and World War II.
Heroization.
Yeah, all the shit we were talking about before, like all the older movies. It's
I don't like that.
And it makes sense. Like you literally come back from the brink of Armageddon. The Axis is literally the axis of evil, and we've defeated fucking. This isn't the show we talk about where like there's space Hitler. This is Hitler. This is like the real fucking Hitler. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's like actually stopping some really fucked up shit. regardless of how it's spun, you know, like regardless of, you know, how proud we are of ourselves and stuff. Like it was like, nah, I'm pretty glad we were able to put a stop to that bullshit. And so, like, of course, it's going to be celebratory for years and years and years afterwards. And you're not going to want to fucking get into a fucking foxhole in Bastogne and actually see how horrible it was. And, like, to come back up for a moment to what we were talking about before, like, it's like Spielberg and crew didn't do it on purpose. They didn't hit the right time on purpose. But it was almost like they, number one, got lucky. And number two, they made the movie because Spielberg's dad was going to die soon, and these guys were going to die. It's like, this is the last chance you've got to hear from the horse's mouth the shit that went down.
And that's important.
And we got lucky that they put the shit together and they made it. You know,
we got
because the shit's
we got
lost
even
now,
luckier
you know?
that 3 years later they did Band of Brothers, and some of those guys were still alive. You know, because you watch the little, you know, the sort of the intermission bits that go at the beginning and the end of the episode, and it's like wow, this is.
Well, you know, and I think there was like the last episode of like Why We Fight Together or something. It was like a documentary episode.
Why We Fight, yeah.
And I just remember being in fucking pieces or whatever the fucking. And I was just like, you know, you can't help but get choked up. These fucking guys and the shit they went through, you know?
It's crazy, dude.
It's bananas.
It really is.
It's bananas. So I don't know. Like, I think this one. I had issues with some of the like not ridiculousness, but like some of the Hollywoodization.
Like
of
what?
some
Let's
of the
talk about
stuff.
that for a few minutes.
But,
like what are you talking about?
I don't know. I mean, the one that always came to mind to me was sniper shooting the dude through the scope, which it turns out is fucking true and nom and whatever, cool. But like the over dramatization, whatever the fuck. There you go. Thank you. That should be I'm an idiot death. Like I appreciate the like Lincoln speech stuff, but it's also kind of over the top, man, you know? Like I like the scene where the ladies notices in the typing pool, she notices that there's a problem, and then she goes and talks to her superior, who then goes and talks to his superior, who then goes and talks to
Bryan Cranston,
General Marshall or whatever. And like, yeah, exactly. Bryan Cranston with his arm awkwardly
Mr.
behind
Cranston,
his back.
we need you.
And like, I get it, but it was just like, okay, guy, like it was just a little too rah-rah. But it's rah-rah out of respect. It's not rah-rah out of like propaganda. It's not rah-rah out of like, aren't we the best? Because like the truth of the matter is that's some fucked up shit, man. Losing 3 of your sons in a week. Like that's crazy.
It is. It's really great in a week. Yeah, like barely a week too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like one of the sons died last week, and then the other 2 died today, and she's gonna get all 3 telegrams. Like that scene with her,
the mother
walking, like she's doing her dishes, and she looks up, and she's got that oh shit moment, and you're just like, oh man, and then you know she kind of comes out, and the door's open, and like that was one of the most masterful scenes I've ever seen. Like it's just absolute home fucking. Like it should have won. That scene should have won a fucking Oscar.
Yeah, I agree. What part of it was? Which part of that sequence was rah rah America or rah rah whatever you're saying?
It's kind of like, sir, we've got a problem. And he's like, hang on, let me go get my oft quoted Lincoln letter.
Oh,
and like, we're going to pull him out, you know, and Dale dies. Like, we shouldn't do this. This is, you know what I mean? So it's attempting to communicate the reality of war versus the, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't even say it's political.
All right, maybe it's a little.
There's the tactical part of war, and then there's the like, oh shit, cost.
Well, there's the you're talking about the psychological and emotional cost. The psychic
and then
cost.
Dale Dye's character is the proxy for like
the machine.
Anything is worth stopping these fuckers, which is like fair enough, you know. Yeah. But that's not even this shit I've got an issue with, I guess. It's like, what do I have an issue with? What did I have an issue with? Because I don't really have an issue with it anymore.
I don't. Well, let me. While you're thinking about that, I'll tell you what I have an issue with, because the list is super short. I the only real gripe I have with this movie is that It's honestly not long enough. I feel like
is that coming from Band of Brothers length that you've had?
no,
a taste?
not that. It's and there's a specific spot in the movie where I pinpointed it, right? And it's the section from when they find Ryan. I feel like it's too fast between, hey, we found you, the speech about why do I got to go home when the only brothers I have left are right here, and now I have to abandon them to that last final climactic battle. You know what I mean? Like that all played a little too quick for me this time. And I'm being fair to I'm really speaking to, the actual people that fought that war, right? Like it deserved more justice, and the characters in the story, it deserved more. It deserved to be stretched out a little
structural,
bit more.
Yeah. I had never realized the structural limitation. So this movie takes place over the first 7 days of the war from Normandy. So D-Day plus 6 or whatever the fuck. Versus A Band of Brothers, which takes place over the course of 4 years. Like, yes, I tend to agree, and maybe I'm talking about something slightly different, but like it feels structurally less possible to explore much more than like what could they have done? Well, I mean, they could have had a couple of skirmishes in that town that leads up to the climax, but they really couldn't be much more than that.
I'm not suggesting that I have an answer. I'm just saying that,
No, I know. But for the sake of conversation, I think it's interesting.
It is interesting to explore,
space,
and that's what we tend to do on a twofer like this.
It's also interesting to explore Airbnb, who offer.
And just so you know, folks, right now you can get a coupon for 15% off at Airbnb.
20% off all properties in and around Normandy with the code RAH-USA.
And if you put RAH-USA in the comments section under the post on Instagram, you will win said coupon. Okay, now back to the show.
You'll be entered in a competition.
I don't know. I'm glad you brought that up now. And I think I thought about that originally. I was like, well, what are you going to do? Put a couple more battles in there? And I was like, no.
I mean, I actually kind of like the idea of a little something, like a little
here. And maybe that would have been something to maybe bolster Miller's decision to be like, oh, okay, he's right. Because it kind of felt like this to me.
Yeah.
I came here to get you because all your brothers died, and I'm sorry. And he's like, well, no, I don't want to go. And then Ed Burns steps up and goes, hey, asshole, we lost 2 guys coming to get you.
Yeah.
And then Miller's like, Mike, come talk to me. What do you think? Okay, we'll stay. But Brian, you're never to be more than 2 feet away from me. You know what I mean? It was very, very quick. There should have been something more deliberation, maybe more dialogue, without getting too long-winded. Like, I don't know, man. It was too quick and easy,
I think most, like a Spielberg, maybe not Spielberg, but like, I'm just going to speak on behalf of Spielberg because old Stevie and I go way back. I think he would respond that scene where they take the machine gun and lose Giovanni Ribisi is the introduction of we're here to win the war. And I think deciding to stay and protect that bridge is an extension of we're here to win the war. And it does have a piece of it's what Ryan wants and Ryan is right and we should stay. I mean, frankly, it's a bad decision considering the orders.
Terrible decision considering the orders.
But it's not a terrible moral decision. Like it's the right moral decision. And maybe that's an interesting thing because like generally speaking, like you'd be fucking hung for disobeying orders to that level had it not been in the fog of war and had it not actually the outcome been the way that it was. It's like you can disobey orders, but there might be some serious fucking ramifications afterwards if it doesn't 100%. Go your way. In this particular case, it went Ryan's way at the cost of everybody, at the cost
literally
of
everybody
Miller.
Except Reiben,
Upham
and
and,
Upham.
Yeah.
Steamboat Willie, toot toot. I cannot not think of you when I see that part, dude. Or I see that actor.
This week's episode brought to you by Disney Plus, where you can see Steamboat Willie. I don't know, man. I mean, I think that actually it actually touches on an interesting thing. Like, I am 100% on board with the climax leading to Tom Hanks saying, "Earn this." I'm 100% on board. Like, that is one of the most powerful lines.
Totally.
In
And the battle was fantastic, and everything that led up to that was fantastic. I'm talking about from.
It is an example of the Hollywoodization for me. Like, it's an example of what you were saying. What are the things that you have an issue with? Like, I don't have an issue with it per se, but it is a means to an end. It is a fictitious battle, unlike Carentan or Bastogne. It's a fictitious battle based on some real stuff to get to the earn this point. And maybe what it is it's like a dramatization of the war as opposed to a retelling of an actual battle, you know? Like, I'm 100% on board, dude. I'm 100% on board with Sizemore getting got and him being like, "Oh, I just had the wind knocked out of me," and him just lying there dead. I'm 100% on board with Tom Hanks getting, you know, his bell rung with that fucking bomb and going out. And like, I remember in the theater when Tom Hanks has the pistol and the tank blows up, I remember for a moment being like, wait, what? Like, I remember for a moment being like, the movie is ruined. And then all of a sudden the P-51 comes by and you're like, oh, thank fuck for that. So like, I think the P-51 is a good example of a thing that like, yeah, okay, cool, you got me. But it's like, that's Hollywood. You know, that's not
reality.
I don't know. It's not good storytelling, in my opinion. It's good
film
Hollywood storytelling, but it's not good storytelling.
You're saying the part where with the gun and the bomb on the
P-51.
Okay,
yeah. Like, there shouldn't be a circumstance in a movie in general, and there should certainly not be a circumstance in a movie with this gravity where you're pulled out and tricked. Like, you shouldn't be pulled out of the movie. Like, in that moment, in that moment where everyone's getting shot to fuck and they're going to the Alamo, like, you're so engaged as a viewer, and the shaky cam over the shoulder stuff is, you're there, dude. You're fucking there, especially in a theater
100%.
environment. And then to have the traditional like Arnie or Bruce Willis style gasoline explosion, like, it was like, it immediately pulled me out as a 17-year-old, and then immediately got stuck back in with the P-51. So like, just for a minute there, you're out of it, but like, you should never be out of it. You know what I mean?
No, that's right. Okay, here. All right, I was thinking about this while you were giving your last soliloquy there. Look, I agree with you. You shouldn't be pulled out. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about what you said about it. It like, this is poor storytelling. This is good, like, ticket selling, right? But poor storytelling.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If they had found Ryan and then gotten to the destroyed village, right? And they were like, you know, what was their whole thing? They were guarding the bridge. Yeah. So
there's one of two bridges remaining.
One
of
two
river.
Bridges remaining on the river. If they had been having that conversation and all of a sudden the German forces that were marching to the position showed up there and they were like, okay.
Yeah, they catch a scouting.
No, they were like, okay, we don't have any choice. Now we have to stay and help these guys.
Yeah.
That would have been way better than what we got. Right. So it was like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
So it's like, okay, now we have all this time to like set up this whole thing. You know, if we can lock a tank down, and Barry Pepper's up in the thing and blah, blah, blah. And Matt Damon tells the story that's, you know, whatever. All that stuff is all well and good, but it's like the point of the decision is the thing I'm taking issue with. And I think that I can call that poor storytelling as well. I think it's...
Yeah. And I think like your idea of them catching a bit of something, you could have inserted a scene or a sequence where a German scouting party comes up and makes contact with the small number of guys, and then they have a bit of a thing. And then the scouting, like, they manage to, take out most of the scouts, but the scouts are going to go back. And as a result, it's like, if we leave with Ryan, every one of you dies, and we can't do that. So and then all of the shit plays out exactly the same.
Exactly.
The moment of prep, they got
exactly. And now you've got even got a stronger foundation for that third act.
Yeah. So like that's an interesting idea. And then I think like we were talking about storytelling, and you were saying like ticket selling. Like I would even be willing to say like it's not bad storytelling. I think it might be the a version where it's like the most real storytelling that you can have and still be funded by Hollywood. Like it's reasonable to believe that maybe like a lot of these things were somewhat forced, in the same sense that like a studio's like, there needs to be a love triangle. It's like fucking okay, dude, like it wouldn't surprise me if some of the stuff was in that.
Well, let me revise what I said.
Another.
No, I was just going to say, let me revise what I said, because you're right. It's not cool. Bad storytelling. What I'm talking about, it's just bad writing. Right. So if it were, because the story's fine and the story
by choice or by
plays
force,
well, but the choices in the writing right there to not lengthen it, to not add some additional dialogue, to not create more conflict. What are we going to do? How do we resolve this? This is a very difficult choice to make. This kid has now lost all of his brothers, but the only brothers he wants to be with now are the ones that he's with right now. You know what I mean? Like that's heavy, and that's like a good crux to lean on, man. You know what I mean? So it's like build something around that. So I retract my statement before. It's not bad storytelling. It's the writing that I'm talking about. That's it.
And then maybe if you zoom all the way out, like the idea of maybe that's actually the issue that I had, is like the whole idea of the film is pretty Hollywooded out.
How so?
Like it's like, we need to go and save the dude because his brothers are dead. Like what? Like, and they talk about it. They're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like everyone's like, this doesn't make any fucking sense, Or like the scene, which is an amazing fucking scene with Leland Orser, is it?
Mm-hmm. The pilot
from Taken and Seven, where he's the pilot, and he's just like,
he was also in.
Some fucking idiot decided to put a steel.
He was
plate
also
in
Alien. He's also Alien Resurrection. He played one of the guinea pigs, and he was great.
So love him, and like that's one of the better scenes, And like I love that it's like a bunch of scenes like that, But it's like all that for one man, and there's like a lot of that going around. Like it's called out many a time. The ridiculousness of the situation of going to save Private Ryan is called out many a time, and like. I don't know. It's like the story of saving a guy to get him back to his mom or whatever. Like morally, I understand it. It's pretty silly.
I don't get
and it's an excuse to travel across Europe and have a bunch of interesting things happen that show you the craziness or goodness or badness or honor or whatever the fuck. Like I get it. It's like a Iliad or the Odyssey kind of thing, but it's kind of silly.
It is.
Whereas Easy Company, their travels across Europe is not silly.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
There's purpose to it.
Historically accurate generally.
No, you're right. There's purpose to it. And there's purpose to this episode too, folks. This show is sponsored by Athletic Greens. Just want to get that in there real quick. And you can find the link to their site on our site, on our landing page, and on our Instagram. And if you click on that,
don't forget to smash that
if you click on that link, you will get a coupon for 2% off.
I like it. We're just going to absolutely beat.
We are. This joke is going to be beaten to death for a long time because I like it.
The joke is going to go back and dig that hole. No, I'm Betty Grable. What a dish, Betty Boop.
Nice gams.
Nice gams. Fuck Hitler. Fuck Hitler.
Dude, you just went from German to Indian in like 2 moves right there. It was great.
That's another one. Like I'm gonna gripe of Chad here because like, dude, Steamboat fucking Willie being the guy that shoots Miller and like
I forgot about that, bro. What did you know?
Fucking
tell me what you thought about the
hallway. Like, well, like when I was 17, like I didn't know anything about anything when I saw this movie in the theater. I didn't know I thought I knew
I wish
everything.
everybody
and I tell everyone
out there
all about
listening
how I
could
knew
see
shit.
what I can see, which is Chad's face while he's saying that to
Just
me.
the little face, like, dude, like, I was the fucking dumbest human on earth when I was 17. Like, I am so, like, it's fine. Like, whatever. I'm not going to, like, go and cut myself. But, like, god damn, I was an idiot.
A lot of us were.
And so, like, you go into these movies. I don't know about you, but, like, when I go into a movie or a show and you get absorbed by it, like, I come out, you know, with, like, some of the spice from the movie on me. So I probably walked out of this theater in shell shock and thinking I was fucking G.I. Joe, you know? Like, I was like, I watched Saving Private Ryan. I know everything there is to know about
I'm
World
a
War II.
military
You know, let me tell you all about it.
expert.
But, like, I remember having a visceral reaction to Upham and hating Upham. Like, fucking hating that motherfucker.
Just at the end?
As a result of him not coming to the party at the end there and, like, having that PTSD moment on the stairs and not saving his mate who gets fucking, like,
Dude, that was
stabbed.
Mellish, dude. Mellish, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it's so hardcore. Like, it's just,
It bothered me a lot.
scene.
I was really bothered
Also,
by that.
really funny scene when you reenact it, like, over beers, and you're just like, yeah, I don't know. I watched this once on the trail with a friend of mine, Colonel Mustard, and it was just, like, so funny because he's the kind of guy that never shuts the fuck up during a movie. Like, he just won't shut the fuck up. He'll just, like, Mystery Science Theater out, and it's like, dude, we're watching Saving Private Ryan, bro. Like, we're, like, eating a pint of ice cream each, and he's, like, in his fucking, like, hiking kilt, and it's just like, James Francis Ryan, you know, like, oh, Jimmy Ryan, you know, he's just, like, yelling throughout the movie. And we get to the end and it's just like, you know, like the fucking knife in the chest. Like, it's horrifying and under the right circumstance, really kind of funny. But man, did I fucking hate Upham, dude. I was just like, fuck you, Upham. So there's, like, that piece of, like, dumbass 17-year-old me. And now I obviously understand it as something totally different. It's like, in that moment, bro, how could you expect to do anything else? Like, that, yeah, like, it's awful. But fucking what are you going to do? To then have him, you know, like, eating fucking gravel and be like, like, fine, okay, fine. And then have him jumping up and fucking shooting Steamboat Willie. It's just like, what the fuck, man? You don't need to tie it in a bow. Steamboat Willie does not need to be the guy that shoots Miller, you know? Like, what do you take away from that? Like, Miller made a bad decision abiding by
Articles of War,
the morality of letting a prisoner of war go? Like, and then Upham finally finds his quote unquote manhood by fucking shooting the guy off the hip. Like, what the fuck? Like, it was retarded.
Why? Like, too convenient?
But the movie is such a legendary movie that, like, I don't care. But it's
Right.
just like, what?
It bothered me how much of how spineless he got when he got shell shocked. But I mean, granted, I wasn't.
Totally.
I've never been in a war, so I can't really say.
I wasn't there. Yeah, so it can't. Yeah, my 17-year-old self could fucking judge, but I can't do that now. You know, it's like I have no
So
idea
while it really
how I would
bothered me
react.
that
I would wish that I would hope upon hope that I wouldn't do that, but who fucking knows?
he's the reason why Mellish died, right? Now the other guy got clipped from a bullet outside, or no, he got clipped from another bullet from the.
He's also the reason that Miller died.
It's true because he could have shot them all in the head with probably 3 bullets because they were all lined up.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that if he hadn't been there, Miller would have executed Steamboat Willie. The only reason that Steamboat Willie was not executed was because he was like, that's against the rules, sir. And then Miller's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. And he was right. But there are ramifications.
But I mean, that's the thing that you have to take a chance with. Like, if you're going to say every person I don't kill brings me closer to home, right? Isn't that what he said? Yeah.
Yeah. Every person that he kills takes him farther away from
every
home.
person he kills takes him farther away from home. So by doing that, he
That's bang on.
Exactly,
That's
and
perfect.
he retains his humanity. And the flip side of that, the cost of that is like, if you
doesn't get to go home because
if you let the wrong person go, that may come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, 100%. But I think the fact that it literally did, I think was a little bit too much.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be Steamboat Willie
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
You know, like, it's a little bit too tied up in a bow.
Okay.
And to have Upham, the guy that fucking convinced him, stand there and watch it happen so that he gets to go home and be like, the rest of his life, I fucking killed Miller because of the decisions I made. Like, that's just
maybe. Or maybe that was 100%, a scenario that happened in the war. I have no idea. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
But I think you could have done, you're kind of getting me on board with this. You could have had another soldier shoot Miller, and you could have Upham find his manhood a different way. Then finally,
or you could have had another soldier shoot Miller, and you could have had Upham run into Steamboat Willie.
Or you could have just had Upham step on a landmine back at the 88s, and then none of this.
He was supposed to die, evidently, in some of the earlier scripts.
None of this would have happened. But look, I mean, I like
Jeremy
Davies. He did a good job, and that was a hard character to play.
I love him. He's
but
great.
Like, I think that
he's great.
You could have had somebody else shoot Miller. You could have had him find another way to kind of wake up and join the fight. You know what I mean? And just decide to get into the fight. You know what I mean? Because when they're at the radar station, he's not in the fight. You know what I mean? He's still translating in his like, metaphorically.
There was a really awesome anecdote nugget there, actually. Did you see that one where it was like the light was going to shit, and so they were going to shoot the footage of taking that gun, but the light went to hell, so Spielberg called an audible and was like, instead of shooting this actual sequence, we're just going to have Upham with this little scope because the light isn't good enough to shoot the sequence. So he called an audible and got it done, and it ended up being the fact that whole little mini battle was through Upham's point of view over that cow and scope I thought that was a really interesting take on.
Yeah.
Rather than have it be like running and gunning. Like I thought it was really...
It was kind of cool.
Really cool. And then from a distance, it's like come up, they hear a kerfuffle, and then they like go get the gear and come up, and all of a sudden Ribisi's lying there. Like Ribisi's death scene is just fucking goddamn, it's good.
It is. It's really good from an acting perspective, from a filmmaking perspective. But it was really it was so good it was hard to watch.
And I think that similar to the air mine reality stuff of the practical effects, the Ribisi's torso being visible and the 4 bullet wounds just oozing blood. Like, I feel like for me, at least, that was one of the first hyper realistic kind of war gore kind of things. Because goddamn, it looked real. It wasn't Upham. It wasn't Mellish or whatever with his head sticking out of the floor with a fake torso. It was like, it looked like it was Ribisi. It looked like he was there. He must have had some prosthetic, or it was digital. I don't know what the fuck it was, but man,
it was really good. It was really, really good. All right. Do we clear up the Upham thing? Are we good on the Upham thing?
I think just to tie that in a bow, if it's all good with you, like, I think the issue that I had with Upham is that he turns into
a soldier,
the audience at some stage. He is a stand-in for you as the viewer who has no idea what they're doing.
That's a good point.
And there is a nug in the list of nugs where halfway through production, Spielberg went to him and said, we're going to shift this to be from Upham's perspective now, because I think that he's a stand-in.
Wow.
So like that was during production that they kind of decided to do that. And like, I think the reason that I hated Upham is because I saw myself in Upham, like the audience does. You'd be like, would I do that? I would be disgusted with you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I caused, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all that shit goes through your mind. You're living in that moment, in those scenes. And I think that was probably the fear of 17-year-old me. And then now that I'm older, it's like, yeah, fucking could easily be the thing that I would do or not do. But I have a lot more sympathy for, for that. Like, that's just absolute hell on earth. Like, who fucking knows what you would do? But yeah, I think when we started this kind of meta topic, it was, what are the problems that you have? And like, I don't really have a lot of negative feelings about any of the stuff we've talked about. Like, I'm perfectly happy to wash over any of it. I don't care, because I love the film. I love
it's still
pacing,
A+ material no matter what. Yes.
It's A++. Yeah, no, 100%. But I think what it, for me, it's like, it is a Hollywood flavored realistic combat World War II movie versus Band of Brothers. I don't think is Hollywood flavored at all. It's just clean reality of World War II. Like there's still some narrative, there's some narrative choices taken, like going to the concentration camp. Like that didn't happen. So like they're making choices narratively, and they are dramatizing real events, but it's a hell of a lot closer to the source material. Like I read the Band of Brothers book. Like it's really, really, really close to the source material.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, I should read that.
And like the Pacific, I recently rewatched. I remember not being enamored by it because it doesn't really follow one crew. It kind of jumps around a bit, but fuck me, it's as good in a different way. Because the Pacific Front is just not as, I don't know, hero worshipped as the European Front. But fuck me, it was probably more brutal and important. So that's very much worth checking out again. Like
this or the book? What are you saying? This or the
Pacific,
book or Band
the
of
Pacific.
Brothers? I need to watch that again. I think that one was tough.
You should put on your high on your list, dude. It's really fucking good.
Really?
It's really good, dude.
I'll start it tonight.
Really fucking good.
I'll start it tonight.
It's different, but I think it's as powerful in a different way.
Sure. In a different setting too. So
yeah.
But
in terms of this, in terms of Upham, I just the high level issues that I have are there's a little bit, it's like when you put too much salt in your food. There's a little bit too much Hollywood on this, but I feel like it was the best that could be done at the time for the funding. Sure. Spielberg's not an idiot. He's a good storyteller. He probably,
great storyteller.
He probably did the absolute best that could be done at the time. And I think this movie's success opened up the creative space to allow for a clean run, like a Band of Brothers, like it probably just wasn't fundable or whatever, or the studio would fuck with it or whatever.
Sure.
So, I'll take it,
Sure.
I'll take it, and I love it, and it's a legendary film.
Wow. Spielberg's almost 80, dude.
It's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
He's doing a ton of producing these days. Like, maybe this is actually an excellent segue, because, like, the Schindler's List was a couple years before this. Jurassic Park, Hook, Last Crusade, Empire of the Sun, Color Purple. Like, that's from, like, the mid-'80s to this in the late 90s. After this movie, like, I don't know if he kind of reached mega status and could, like, do whatever he wanted, because, like, he took AI on, which you'll recall was a Kubrick work in progress that he just completely fucking redid. And I need to revisit
I'm looking
that,
at his
I wasn't really
I'm
into
looking
it
at his
time.
film. I'm looking at his film list right now. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like, AI was taking on a Kubrick project, and it fell hard. Like, I wasn't into it. Like, I appreciated parts of it, but whatever. Minority Report was pretty solid and pretty popular. Catch Me If You Can, sure. War of the Worlds I have a real soft spot for. Munich is
The Terminal was fantastic. The Terminal was great too, man. Did you ever seen that with Tom Hanks?
Could take or leave, but probably would appreciate now. Lincoln's really solid.
Tintin.
Yeah, he did that with Peter
Jackson.
Jackson.
I've never seen. Okay.
But Ready Player One,
Spies, I heard that was
fucking
good.
wet fart. West Side Story, I love the source material. I've never really been into musicals, but like, I just didn't get through it. I watched it and was like, okay, yeah, When You're a Jet, cool.
Big Fucking Giant, was that any good?
The kids are really, we just read that aloud over the last month and watched the movie,
Really?
and the kids absolutely loved it.
Really?
Yeah, they really, really liked it.
Wow, Disney. War Horse, never seen that.
I think I've
Bridge
seen
of
it,
Spies, I think Bridge of Spies I was told was good. Written by the Coen brothers. Wow.
but he's an interesting.
Dude, he needs to use other people than Tom Hanks starring in his movies. Jesus Christ. It's like Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, Private Ryan, fucking Bridge of Spies. Like,
I remember
Jesus
liking
Christ.
The Post. I mean, it's an interesting moment in history.
Again, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Political thriller about the Washington Post and the publication of the Pentagon Papers.
It's pretty
That looks
pretty good.
That looks interesting.
That was
I'd
good.
watch that.
But I kind of feel like this was like the beginning of the next major chapter. Like, I'm not poo-pooing all those movies that came after this, but like the movies before this are his peak for me.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
let's see what we got here, man. Since we're talking about Spielbergo, which is a Simpsons reference. Remember when Mr. Burns gets a director to do
No.
something, and he doesn't get Spielberg, he gets the Mexican Spielberg, which is Spielbergo.
That sounds like a Conan joke.
Totally. So you got E.T., classic. Raiders, classic. Close Encounters, absolute classic. Jaws, like genre defining.
Yeah, Temple of Doom, Color Purple.
Twilight Zone was really good too, man.
Twilight Zone was
Color
really good.
Purple.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
Empire of the Sun, dude.
collab.
Come on.
Empire of the Sun's fantastic. Last Crusade's fantastic. Hook, Jurassic Park, Schindler, and Private Ryan all in like one chunk.
No, actually, Hook is not bad. A lot of people like that movie.
Hook's great.
Jurassic Park, Schindler's, Lost World. Lost World was terrible, dude.
Yes, it was. I mean, that had to be a cash. That had to be cash. Or he had to be contractually obligated to do the second one in order to get the first one done or something. Like, I don't know. It was just fucking.
Amistad, I was always told, was amazing.
I've seen it, but it's been way too long.
Really?
But it was good.
Right on.
Is that the one with Jaimin Hansu?
I believe that was the beginning of our
I
relationship
like
with
his
Jaimin Hansu.
Breakthrough.
Big thing, right?
Yeah. I'd like to check that one out again, actually. Speaking of which, total fucking change of subject. There is a 2024 French Count of Monte Cristo that people are saying is the best version ever, which obviously isn't going to be true, but I'm really interested to check it out.
What? Oh, it could be a future twofer for you and I. Hello.
A diff.
A differ.
Le differ.
Let me just open another tab in the internet and I will look it up. Okay. This
I
is
thought I had more to
show-stopping.
say about Spielberg, but I don't. Other than like he's got an interesting run, and I feel like this is the peak of his first major wave.
Interesting.
Well, maybe this is the peak of his second wave. I think is like E.T. and Jaws and shit was the first wave.
It's called the Count of Monte Cristo. But let's finish up that. Hold on, let's finish that up because I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I don't really. I'm not so sure if. Let me start over. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I don't know if this is like you're giving it kind of a beginning of the end kind of Doom kind of feel. I don't know.
But looking at it later, I think that's wrong. I think it's like I don't know. Like this is going to be the douchiest sounding thing ever, but it's like Picasso's fucking blue period. You know, like it's like there's different periods in a mega career, and I think this is the cresting of the second wave in his career, and his third wave is ongoing or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not to say one wave is better than another wave, but I feel like it marks a cresting of one of the waves. Most directors only have one fucking wave, it seems, but.
And then some directors have one film, like the guy that did Frozen Ground, which is really tragic because that was actually a really good effort by that guy. You know what I mean? Like
it all comes down to the commercial aspect of it too. Yeah.
I guess, but
if it made money, he would have gotten more movies. You know, like it's just the unfortunate nature of it.
Or maybe he just was like, "Fuck this, it's too hard," and he went and sold insurance or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Man, I mean that happens. You know, there's plenty of people that leave and they're just like, "Ugh, enough."
Well, I saw a piece the other day that was saying like Hollywood's original content is floundering at the box office, and it was like. Movie A, movie B, movie C are all new IP that's never been done before, and they're all catastrophically failing, and they're only in theaters for a few weeks before they get pulled. And so, like, our conversations over the months and years of I wish they would do original shit. It's like they are doing it, and no one's fucking going to see it. Everyone's going to have popcorn fights at the Minecraft movie. You know what I mean? And it's just
people are stupid. I agree. Yeah. It is. I mean, you're right. It is. There is good content out there, and people are just.
Once again, Benny is right. There's plenty of good stuff.
Yeah, he was right about that. And certainly the comedy thing too. Although I do pine for those, the I Love You Mans, the Talladegas, the Multiplicities. Like I miss those types of comedies, man. You know,
there was an interview that I stumbled on It was actually really interesting. It was Bill Murray being interviewed by some dude from the New York Times, like in entertainment. And like, I don't know. I think, every once in a while, like a podcast is like, here, we're going to put a totally different fucking show in this feed. And he was, and Murray, it was probably an interview that Murray did in the last month or two. And he, at one point, was saying like,
I saw a clip of that the other day, I think.
Did you? It was like back in the day, they used to have comedies would come out in the summertime, and you would expect to have your summer comedies, and they just aren't doing it anymore. And I think that might be
part of it.
Part of what I'm talking. Yeah, it's not that they're not doing it anymore. It's just that the rhythm of it or the way that it's being done is a bit different. I kind of just miss there being tentpole comedies. Maybe is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. He actually did a Rogan recently.
Did he?
Yeah, which is, it's interesting because he's famous for kind of never doing interviews, but he went on Joe Rogan. It was, it was 2 hours, a typical Rogan is kind of 3.
Rogan.
Yeah, it's a short Rogan. So like, it was good. I wish they kind of strayed into like, I don't know, just I was interested in hearing more interesting, cool things. Like he did a lot of cool, like talked about, kind of coming up and into Saturday Night Live and hanging out with Hunter S. Thompson and stuff like that, which is cool. But
he played him.
I was hoping for
Buffalo Roam, right? That was a great one.
Exactly. And I was hoping for a little bit more for a long form interview, but it was still good.
Yeah, I think he holds it
Check
close
it out.
to his chest a bit.
He does, definitely. Dude, guy never does interviews. You think he holds it close to his chest? Duh. Real quick, before we move on, folks, we are sponsoring this episode with Athletic Greens. You can find a link to a coupon for 5% off if you go to our website.
5%?
That is ebd.fm/coupon.
Get your green on.
Get your green on. All right, now back to the show. We were talking about moving on. I don't really have Spielbergo. I don't either. I'm not so sure that was like the beginning of the end, I think is what I was saying. I think like,
I think that's
I don't
fair.
know. Like there's some good movies in there. You may be onto something there that requires some further analysis, but I'll leave it at that. Like I mean, look, dude, we grew up with this guy.
You go from this into probably 10 years of Band of Brothers / Pacific / executive producing. Like maybe that's the story. Because I remember seeing some making ofs of Band of Brothers where Hanks and Spielberg were like, we came off of Ryan's Privates, and we're like so into World War II. Like they just went balls to the wall. Right. So like that's probably actually it, is that they changed focus. And that was probably one of the earlier examples of actually changing focus from movies to back to TV. Like the taboo of you don't move backwards into TV was broken with Band of Brothers and maybe some other stuff around the time.
Right.
Because making Band of Brothers would have been a mega effort. It would have easily been 5 to 10 years, you would think.
It's interesting. It's not in here. I just went to like his full filmography, which shows his cameos, documentaries, TV, producing credits, documentary appearances, everything. TV. There's nothing even about Band of Brothers in here.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, he was definitely executive producing.
Well, this is the literal executive producer list, and he is not on it for that show, which I find very strange.
Makes no sense.
Producer. He's not even on it for producer. So for instance, like produced films. In 91, he did American Tail, Fievel Goes West. 2005, Memoirs of a Geisha. 2006, he did 2 Clint Eastwoods, Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima. Super 8, 100 Foot Journey.
It says created by Hanks and Spielberg, so maybe it just wasn't a producer credit. Oh, he's an executive producer. It makes no sense. I'm looking at it on the WWII. $125 million. God damn, they got good bang for their buck there.
Are you kidding? That's it for 10 episodes. Sorry, what is it? 8 episodes?
It's 10 episodes. I think 9 of which are the show, and 1 is the doco. I think maybe it is full 10.
Wow,
that's like a solid, easy 10 hours.
Wow. Anyway,
I think that's probably it. I think my perception of him, 11 hours 45 minutes for Band of Brothers. My perception of him is probably tainted by the fact that he went from blockbuster mega movie to making Band of Brothers, and I perceive that as a downturn as opposed to a change in focus. So that's
because that's what it
silly,
used
and
to
I'll take
be.
it
And that's what it was. Well, that's what it was when we were growing up. That's not necessarily death worthy, but I'll give you a death. So what's the death?
TV's cool too, man. Death. It's the Athletic Greens death. When we were talking before about storytelling, we were talking about Upham and Steamboat Willie and this, that, and the other as like maybe just for the sake of conversation, let's just say bad storytelling because who gives a shit? We don't need to retread that ground. Good storytelling is fucking Vin Diesel pulling that girl down from that house and the girl being upset and like the shoot 'em up and this like that. It was fucking incredible.
It was great.
You know, you've got Giamatti kind of being like crotchety fucking Mr. Fucked Up Knees and like they enter the town and like all that kind of stuff. But then it kind of goes into the like Diesel picking peaches or whatever. And then the shoot 'em up happens. Like that little girl, the little French girl and that moment of like the parents trying to give her away and she's freaking out. She's the age of my son now. And like the idea of his confusion, if I were to try and hand him off like that, like I would be doing it to try and save him. He would have no idea. And he would be so traumatized by that. And that girl really fucking, you know, did a great job of making that. And like the mother with the baby and the little brother, like even just that without Caparzo getting got was pretty mega. And then the Caparzo getting got scene. And then it turns out that fucking Vin Diesel was picked up for this movie because he directed it and starred in a movie. And he actually suggested to Spielberg that they do that low shot of him laying there with the blood coming out. And that was his idea. It's like, fuck, I love that scene.
Wow. That's so good. And I forgot Caparzo got clipped so early on in the film.
Yeah. And it's D's, man. It was like my introduction to D's.
It was everybody's big introduction to
It's just
D's,
so
bro.
fucking good.
I know. It was really, really good. And yeah, that was a really good scene. And there's
that's
been
good
other
storytelling.
Yeah, there's another sniper scene. I don't know if it's in a World War II movie where it's very similar, where it's probably Full Metal. It is Full Metal. Where they lure one guy out, they shoot one guy, and they just wait for people to go in to try to save him, and they clip all them. There's just a pile of bodies, you know?
Yeah.
It was just crazy, man. And it was really rough watching him kind of bleed out in the middle of that, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what happened. You know, he pulls out the letter. Mellish is like, "You'll deliver it yourself," and then it's like,
and that's the moment. It's obvious. It's like it punches you in the face, but it's like, wait, why are we fucking going to save this guy thing? He's like, my actual really good friend just died here. Like, what the fuck, man?
I know. That's when it really kind of hits you. That whole aspect of it.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to go backward in time a little bit because there was something I was going to say before, like when we were talking about the storytelling. You know, it's kind of like, why is the guy that's the one leftover brother more important than, say, Caparzo, who could have been a single child?
Yeah.
Like, why? I don't understand that. Like, how do you? Like, I appreciate the general getting the letter out of the desk and everything, but like, you know,
it just doesn't make any sense.
What is? I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, why?
I mean, in a way, it's realistic. A lot of those decisions don't make any sense, and people do that kind of dumb shit all the time. Maybe not that exact thing, but like a civilian-run military has a reputation of making some pretty fucking dumb decisions in the opinion of the military. You know, like civilians are pretty fucking like, I don't know. It kind of makes sense in a way that like if you haven't served and you're whatever in the government that is the civilian leadership of the military, you're going to make some bad decisions. You haven't fucking served. It seems to be a really common point of tension between the actual branches of the military versus the decision makers or the bureaucrats that make the decisions. Like there's some really great documentaries with like McNamara and Fog of War and Why We Fight. They're very, very much worth checking out. And like, bad calls were made, dude. You know, and sometimes for the benefit of the war. Like I remember there was an anecdote about McNamara, who was brought in to resolve an issue with the aerial bombardment of, I think it was Germany in World War II, where like people were saying that they went on the missions and were writing the documents that they went, but they weren't going on the missions because it was too dangerous, which like I get. But then like,
Sure.
I think LeMay got involved and was put in charge, and like they did some shit where they're like, if you know, you'll get court-martialed if you don't go. And then they went and they started winning, you know, obviously through attrition, you know. So like sometimes strategically you need to make those hard decisions in order to get the thing done, but at what cost? And then you're firebombing German cities, and German people are dying by the hundreds of thousands, and like it's so fucked up. But the separation of you know, civilians from the actual branches of the military is an interesting point of tension, and where bad decisions are made, you know. And like it makes sense that this stupid fucking idea would have happened, but it also is kind of crazy, you know, as mentioned many a time in the movie.
Sure.
Like even Ryan being like, this doesn't make any sense. Like it's like, nope, doesn't. And Caparzo was the first example of just being like, wait, what?
Right. And then like Wade, you know, because both of those deaths were pretty grisly, man.
Which one's Wade?
The medic.
Ribisi. Dude, oh, Jesus Christ, yeah. But that was like a good decision. Like, I think Tom Hanks's decision, Miller's decision to take that gun was the right decision.
Sure.
It's a damn fucking shame that Ribisi got taken out, but
sure.
I think him just being like, what, we're going to leave this for the next crew to come and get ambushed? Like, it's like fair enough, man.
Yeah.
Well, I totally also sympathize with the guys being like, let's just go around, boss, because like, fuck a bag of putting our lives at risk. Like, I get it.
Yeah. I like the scene when Ryman's like, I'm not. And he's like, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, when they let him go, you know, and he's like, when they let Steamboat Willie go, and he's like, fucking bullshit.
I love it. It's fucking bullshit. And then I love Sizemore being like, your face is dumb. It's like,
no. You don't know how. He goes, you don't know when to shut up. You don't know how to shut up.
It's so good, man.
Pulls out his
Sizemore
45.
is so good.
That was a direct order. Points the gun at him. Oh, what are you going to shoot me now? You know, he's like, no, I'm going to shoot you because I don't like you.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Good,
dude.
Sizemore is fucking excellent.
I am a fucking such a Size fan, dude. I have been a fan of Size since way back.
You're a Size
since
whore?
Point Break. Probably Point Break, dude. You know,
yeah,
before that.
And
there was a
whatchamacallit?
Go ahead.
The fucking Ray Fiennes brain bullshit movie we did. That's
oh god, Strange Days. Yeah.
Strange Days, dude. I love
Strange Days.
That.
I know he's great, dude.
And
he's
got
such a great actor. He wasn't in Reservoir Dogs.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know. He was never in any Quentin Tarantino movie. He was in True Romance. No. Sorry, that was that was Gandolfini. Sorry.
Gandalf.
Sorry, he wasn't.
It was Gandalf the Grey Feeney. The way that you said Gandolfini is, it's like,
I know,
dude.
No, he was.
James
Gandolfini
as Gandalf is like the Peter Jackson shit that is missing from my life,
dude. We need to start workshopping that, dude. That is so funny. Sorry, my mistake. Size was in True Romance. He played one of the cops. He was one of the cops with Chris Penn.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking of. That's a Reservoir Death.
A Reservoir Death? All right, I'll take it.
Oh, and Natural Born Killers. That was another Tarantino written one.
There you go.
That's what I was thinking of. Size is so good. I think like it's tropey, but in the best possible way with the like rock solid Sarge kind of thing. But I don't know. He is just so rock solid in this. His character is so rock solid.
Well, here's the thing, dude. So, folks at home, we're doing a little bit of juggling with the schedule with this show and the shows surrounding it because it's our 300th show. And this show ended up being recorded on Ben's birthday, and he was away. So Chad and I did this together, and we decided yesterday, we were like, well, what do we want to do? Chad and I usually do a war movie. Now, we came up with a list of 3 names, and we ultimately decided on this one. But the two other movies were Black Hawk Down and what was the other one?
Good
I
timing.
got it right here.
Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker. And we did, we decided to do this, but the other one that I probably would have picked as my second was Black Hawk Down,
He's
in
in that
which
one.
Tom Sizemore plays Colonel McKnight, and he's
Tommy Size.
the same. He's freaking great in that too, man. He really knows how to bring it with those sorts of characters, man. You know, he's really good. I just enjoy him all the way around. You know, he was great in Heat. He was great in Strange Days. He was great in Black Hawk. He was great in this. Like everything he's done, I've just loved him in. I just love seeing him in movies. And you know, he actually
He had
a
some
great
fucking
Sizemore,
monsters, man.
and and an early nugget is that he has had some trouble with substances over the course of his life, and
Like Athletic Greens,
Kev? Yeah, no, not like Athletic Greens, which is the sponsor of this episode. And folks, if you would like to get a discount on Athletic
You would like to get your fix of Athletic Greens.
exactly,
Just a taste.
yes, visit our Instagram page. So, Size has struggled with substance abuse over the course of his life. So Spielberg said, "Listen, if you come here and you take a blood test every single day, you pass, you're good to go. And if you don't, even if we're on the last day of shooting, you will be fired. It will be recast, and we will reshoot the entire thing."
I mean,
And
I
he
think
was
he
like,
clearly
"Oh."
needed that.
He was like, "Okay," and he did it. And I'm proud of him.
Yeah, it sounded like he needed all the support he could get there. I mean, it's sad. It's sad that like he couldn't have done this without the daily drug test, but I'm glad there was a daily drug test because,
Me too.
man, he fucking hits a home run here.
God, he's so good, man. And I love the way he plays such a leatherneck sergeant. You know what I mean? Like he gets hit, keeps moving, gets hit again, keeps moving, gets hit again. I just got the wind knocked out of me. Then he dies.
Yeah.
He's got grit.
He does. And his character is so... He's the Clone Wars dude. Like, it doesn't really go into detail about his life, and you kind of want to know more. It's the Clone Wars. It's like we talk about like the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I
like,
got you.
He's
I got you.
like, they don't like, he's rock solid, and you don't know a lot about him. But then he has the fucking tin that he puts the soil in, and then you see Africa and Italy. Like that little bit of exposition that's not beat you over the head, show not tell, is just such fucking excellent storytelling.
It's cool.
It just brings so much gravity to his character, and then yeah, he's just rock solid. He's the rock solid Sarge all the way through. You know, even through the, you know, fuckhead saying he's going to leave and him being like, "I'm going to shoot you." You know, he's bang on all the way to the end.
I agree.
There's no downside. And I think like the one scene where they actually like, he's explored a little bit is the church scene, which is just one of the best scenes, man.
The church scene.
It was like, what was the name of that kid that used to walk around on his hands? Like, Vecchio. And they're like laughing while Ribisi is writing the letter. And like, there's that tension of like, stop laughing. I'm literally like rewriting Vin Diesel's letter here. And they're like giggling about Vecchio. So he's like, Vecchio. Oh yeah, he was funny. And he used to walk around on his hands. Like, Caparzo. I'd trade 10 Ryans for one Vecchio or one Caparzo. And Size was just like, amen, you know?
Wasn't that when they were doing the dog tags?
No. So
no,
they go into Giamatti's town. Caparzo gets got. They take out the sniper. They're working through the town. Giamatti's got a fucking stone in his shoe. He sits down, knocks over the wall. They have the standoff, and then Ted Danson from above shoots those guys. And then he's like, "Hey, you guys got a 5-star hotel I can stay?" He's like, "Oh, we got a church." So they stick him in the church.
It. Yes.
And they're in the church and they're talking, and Tom Hanks and Sizemore are laughing while Ribisi is rewriting Caparzo's letter on the evening that Caparzo got shot. And it's like one of the only kind of real moments with Sizemore. The only other moments is when Sizemore kind of raises an eyebrow when Hanks's hand shakes, or when initially he's like, "Hey, what's going on with your hand?" He's like, "I don't know. It's just kind of shaking," you know? He does a lot with not a lot of dialogue, I guess is what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah. No. You're right. And I agree with you about the Sizemore thing with the, the tins of soil.
The dirt,
that is very, very cool.
Because again, as a kid, I didn't know or care about the African front or the Italian front or the Pacific front for that matter, because you're just so fucking G.I. Joe dumbass, you know? Like, there's just so much to that conflict.
Right.
Even to this day, like I've
II.
read and learned a bit about, World War II. I've read and learned a bit about the African campaign, and like we brought a whole bunch of World War I shit to Africa and got our shit pushed in. And that's like where we turned into an actual military, you know, like we needed to be sharpened up. The American military needed to be sharpened up because it was rusty and shitty and never really got its shit together after World War I.
I thought that the African theater was in World War II.
It was, but it was
It
early.
was Italy. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. Enough fucking military history channel. Sizemore was fucking great.
Mr. Military History Channel with Chad and Kev.
I mean, since we're talking about like cast stuff, like Rybin, Edward Burns, Adam Goldberg, Mellish, Ribisi to a degree, Jeremy Davies, like Barry Pepper, they've done some stuff, but not as much as I would have hoped.
I agree. And I forgot about Ed Burns. I forgot about Ribisi. I forgot about Goldberg. Like I was like
Fillion as well.
Dude, Nathan Fillion, like super young Nathan Fillion. You know
Dennis
what I mean?
Farina.
Like, Ted Danson was in it for a minute. Giamatti was in it. Like there's all these there's all these other actors I recognize, like the guy that was either the lieutenant or the sergeant no, not Lieutenant Dan, but when they got to the bridge at the end, I've seen that actor do a bunch of stuff on TV and other places. Sure. You know, these a lot, like some of these guys were like unknown in the movie at the time, and then they've gone on to do great things. You know, Ribisi's had a good solid career. I tell you what, man, Adam Goldberg. I love him, man. I loved him in Dazed and Confused. I've loved him in pretty much everything I've seen him in. I've always thought he was a fantastic actor, and I just cannot figure out why I don't see more of him, or why he didn't get more work, or whatever. I mean, he's probably about the same.
Did a
age
bunch of TV, which I saw, but yeah, he did.
Yeah, but you know, he's so
the
God. Yeah, he's
great.
so damn good, dude. So good. What do you mean, The Equalizer? He was in the show The Equalizer with Queen Latifah?
71 episodes. I don't know.
Wow.
I've never seen
Okay.
it. I've never seen it, but he's in it.
No, that's good, man. I mean, I just think he's really talented, and he always brings a lot, and he ditto here. He was fantastic, man. You know, I feel the same way about Barry Pepper, dude. I love Barry Pepper. He was great. He did knock around guys with Vin Diesel like 2 years after that. Yeah, exactly. Barry Pepper's fantastic. He was in Battlefield Earth
and True Grit. Yeah,
so
dude,
great.
Battlefield fucking Earth. Holy
I know.
shit.
But
I feel like Battlefield Earth
done
torpedoed that fucking guy's career, man.
It might have.
Holy shit.
It might have.
I think we talked about this on the show.
idea.
We wanted to do Battlefield Earth, and we decided
never
to do
talked
it.
about
And then
this.
we watched it and was like, we cannot do this fucking movie. It was
Well,
the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Just to give a little, like, even more transparency, like we got a copy of the movie, okay, and we shared it, and
Totally legally.
I think didn't Ben just say no effing way?
I think it was a twofer.
like-
I think it was a twofer. and we were
I think it
figuring
was
out
a
what to do.
twofer because Ben said I will never watch that movie.
Yeah.
So immediately we
And he was
lost a guy.
100% right.
We lost a guy. Then Chad and I start digging into it. Of course, me being me, I'm like, hey, it'll be fun. We'll have fun with it.
Yeah,
Chad
but I
was
think
like,
you didn't watch
"Can't
it. I stopped
do
you
it."
from watching it.
You stopped it. You stone cold it.
no.
I was ready to take the leap and do it, dude.
Nah. You should
No, I
watch
was.
it. Did you watch it? I don't think you did.
I have seen it many times.
I know you've seen it, but did you watch it recently?
No, because after you put a full stop on it, I just was like, all right, there's no point in watching this.
Save those couple of hours, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Save those few hours of my life.
Barry Pepper, dude, I mean, he is just magic in this one, dude.
He's fantastic, dude. He was in Maze Runner, The Death Cure. He's been
I
in a
couldn't
bunch
get into
of
all
stuff.
that teeny bopper bullshit, man.
I mean, for a teen movie, it was actually pretty good, but yeah.
Dude, there was the
I mean, he's
I keep seeing this on my Netflix where it's like Beauties or something. It's like in a world where everyone gets cosmetic surgery to be beautiful. The Hunger Games fucking maze runners kill each other that are ugly. No, it's called Uglies. There's like the people are ugly. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, the movie's called Uglies. A dystopian novel.
Is this like a real thing?
Post-scarcity world in which everyone is considered an ugly. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, it's a 2005 dystopian novel by Scott
Tells the story of a
Westerfeld.
teenager, Tally Youngblood, who rebels against society's enforced conformity after her friends Shay and David show her the downsides to being pretty.
Oh my God.
Shoot me in the fucking face now.
Tally Youngblood. I kind of want to do this, man.
I kind of do too.
Middle pretties. Middle
Almost
pretties
16.
into
Like every other
crumblies.
ugly, she awaits the operation with great anticipation.
Oh my God. What country does this originate from? This is pretty bad. Yeah. This is terrible.
What was the other?
This is just a novel too. We haven't gotten to the movie, dude.
The Hunger fucking Games. Yeah, I mean, like
Jesus
Hunger
Christ.
Games set the world on fire, and then everyone decided they wanted to make stuff like it.
Interesting. Berrypepper.com.
.com.au. All right, so what else?
Ooh, I forgot Barry Pepper was an Enemy of the State, dude. That's such a good movie,
I haven't seen that
man.
one in a long ass time.
I know it's a good movie though. That was a good Will Smith movie. That had everybody, dude. That had freaking.
I get that one
Jake
confused
Busey,
with
Barry Pepper,
Broken Nose
Jack
Dude
Black.
all the time.
What?
Owen
Well,
Wilson.
I love when you say stuff like that.
what's the
It's just like
enemy
it's
lines?
so
I get that.
specifically. It's so specifically vague to your brain. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
Behind enemy lines.
I love it.
What was it? Owen?
Okay,
Luke
yeah,
Wilson.
yeah. Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. You do a good Owen Wilson,
So
don't
you-
you?
I don't know. The girl
Not on
from
the
Saturday
spot,
Night
but
Live
you
does it
do.
way
Yeah,
better
you
than
do.
me. Yeah, I've done an okay one. Kind of pinched the nose a little bit. Hey.
Dude, Tenenbaums. We should do Tenenbaums. I fucking love that.
Yeah, we should do
All right.
something like
Anyways, anything. I don't think there's any
anyway,
other
so
cast
let's-
stuff here.
yeah,
What
let's-
else you got?
that.
Bits
Well,
and
I mean,
bobs.
look, I really like Giovanni Ribisi. He's fantastic. Like all the actors that got cast for this, you know, they're perfect. These guys are great. Ed Burns is great. Like all those guys were perfectly cast. Very capable, and they did an excellent job, dude. Up to and including Diesel, you know, and all of the sort of the minor players as well. So, you know, it was kind of ironic, a little quick casting nugget. Damon at the time was totally unknown, right? So ironically enough, like he had written and shot Good Will Hunting in this same time period. So when Spielberg cast him, he cast him because he wasn't a well-known actor. But by the time this film came out, he was literally just exploding
On his
because him
rocket
and
ship,
Ben
yeah.
Affleck won the Academy Award for writing Good Will Hunting. So kind of interesting. All right, bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs.
What
mean,
do you love?
Normandy scene.
Normandy scene is just insane. It's so chaotic. It's so bloody, dude. When the little waves are lapping in later on, and it's just like 100% pure red. It's just
And
like,
then there's
wow.
that first
the guy
thing
looking
where,
for his arm.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. And then the ramp comes down and they just get mowed down and they're over the side
Oh
and the
my
guy's
God,
drowning
dude.
under the water and getting weighed down. Like there's just so much stuff going on there.
And it was crazy how like they would just quickly switch to the German machine gun nest, and you can just like see and feel the intensity of them firing those guns, and then it like quickly shifts right back to the boat, and it's like bang, bang, bang. One guy goes down, next guy goes down, next guy. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean,
Crazy,
they like, there was many a news article and whatever Today Show fucking segment about how hyper realistic that sequence was from a veteran's point of view. And like, it just, I don't know. It was kind of maybe the first time I've ever felt like I was thrown into that from, like, you were there, dude, you know, especially in the theater, like the hyper realism of that sequence from the boat to the beach to the berm and dropping the Bangalores and then like taking out that nest and then coming around the nest and then going around the back and lighting it up. And it's just like, it was just 20 minutes of just holy shit. You know, it just gets you so crazy. Good. It grabs you by the fucking hair and it just forces you to watch it.
No, and the combat in general was just so good in this movie that it was like, I mean, I was like, I was all tensed up at the last battle scene, you know, just like with anxiety and tension, you know, it was just so damn good, you know, and partly because I had not seen this in probably 10 or more years. So
yeah, it's been a while for sure.
Wow. You know, what else did I like? The costuming was really good. I mean, that seems like kind of a vanilla cop out of a thing to say, but it really was. Yeah. It seemed very period accurate, man. I like, you know, there's a very distinct, there was a very distinct difference. Obviously, the uniforms for the Airborne were the same as the ones from Band of Brothers, but it was very interesting to see how those uniforms differed from the Rangers uniforms, which is what Tom, Captain Miller, and all those guys wore. They were Rangers. So, I really like that a lot. You know, the costuming was fantastic. Yeah.
Because it had been so long since I'd seen this, I very much enjoyed connecting it to the 506th, connecting it to the 101st, and the fact that Easy Company's discussed, the fact that, you know, the sticks of the Airborne Rangers are talked about very early with the leadership when Tom Hanks gets given the mission and stuff. So I really like that connective tissue and could see how it.
Me too.
Gave birth to the Let's Do Band of Brothers.
Totally.
In terms of like scenes, the scene with I'm blowing the name. The scene with Barry Pepper in the church when he's sniping is really good. Leading up to him seeing the barrel of the tank, which is pretty brutal.
Oh, that was the worst way to go. That was probably the death I disliked the most. Because he was so skilled as a sharpshooter. You know what I mean? And like I thought he had gotten that tank sorted out because they show it twice in that sequence. And then when he looks down through the scope and the barrel's pointed right at him, it's just like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah,
and it's so brutal. Like all the death. I mean, here's another one. Like all the deaths are just like, I mean, you are there for the deaths. Like when that shell from that tank hits the tower and him and the other guy just like engulfed in flame. And I mean, it's like, you're right there, dude. Like the flame engulfs the camera too, you know, ditto with the guy that was with Goldberg. That was the guy who was like sort of the leader of that little ragtag band of dudes that was guarding the bridge, you know? I can't remember that guy's name. I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff.
You mean before Mellish gets
stabbed? He gets clipped in the neck, dude. I mean, it's like you're 1 foot away from him, you know, before Mellish goes through that whole thing with, oh my God, dude.
And then, you know, there was the other stuff too, like in the Normandy scene, you know, Hanks is a little bit, got his bell rung coming off the boat, and then he grabs and drags one of his compatriots who then gets blown in half, and he's dragging half of a body, and then same on the berm before they Bangalore their way through that machine gun nest, like keeps turning over and grabbing the radio guy and being like, say this, and then say this, and then the third time the guy's got no fucking face anymore, you know?
Oh my God, dude. Or what about the guy that got hit in the helmet and then he like takes the helmet off to look at it and he gets clipped in the head?
He's so famous in that scene.
Oh my God.
From that scene as a stunt dude. Yeah, I mean, the just pure crapshoot of it is interesting, and probably one of the first times I had seen it, maybe, of just like
what?
Either you're lucky or you're unlucky, you know, with the bullets flying. Like that, it's just so clear that it's like, it doesn't matter how fucking good of a person you are, dude. Like you get a bullet, you get a bullet. And it was like true to form, obviously, but it was so against the John Wayne-ness of it all, you know, like it just really throws you, and he's just like, nah, man, this is 100% meat grinder territory.
Sure.
A thing that I never picked up on, which I kind of like, was the guys that were in that machine gun nest were Polish Czech and or Polish. And so when they put their hands up and they get shot in that early sequence, they were Polish conscripts. So like, I didn't realize that Polish prisoners of war were forced into the German army. So they're just like Polish dudes that got captured in Poland.
I had no idea. Yeah, or Czechoslovakian guys as well. Yeah, no, there was both.
So that I didn't know, and it just adds a lot of interesting kind of, I don't know. It's just interesting. And then on the flip side, there was a nugget. I read all of the nuggets except for one, and there was one that was like, this is what the German guy says to Mellish when he's stabbing him. I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what he says. Like, I want to just hear the German there. You know, like, I think sometimes when you know the thing, it's like it takes away. Like, it's like
well, just hearing the German brings you into it because you don't know German, and if you were there, you wouldn't know German. You wouldn't
know, yeah. But
so why would you?
And like, there's sometimes where like maybe I like a song, like I don't know, like a bossa nova song, and it's like in Portuguese, and I'm like, oh, I love this song. I remember working with Brazilian chick on Nantucket, Bella, who you probably met back in the day, Al Luderer's ex. And like, I was like, oh, do you like any of the bossa nova shit? You know, I love the music. And she was just like, nah, that stuff sucks. It's all about like my fucking sailboat this and my bullshit that. And because the lyrics are in Portuguese, like I have no idea. It just sounds nice. But when she's like, it's the fucking lamest shit ever, dude. The lyrics are so dumb. It's like, oh, okay. It's the same idea. You know, it's like,
yeah. I get what you mean.
The vibe of something gets destroyed when you know
it's like Steamboat Willie, dude. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, can you see? You know,
that's so good, dude.
He has no idea what he's saying.
So yeah, shout out to that. Giamatti, dude. We didn't talk. I love Giamatti. I love Giamatti so much.
I love Giamatti too, man. I mean, this is right about the time when Giamatti was getting pretty
just
hot
starting to take
man.
off, I think. Yeah.
What the hell is going on with this thing?
I remember American Splendor back in the day. Oh, that was actually after this. Interesting. But he was really good in like John Adams. You ever watch that one? That one's quite good, actually.
No, that's one I've been meaning to watch for years, and I just never
I haven't watched since it came out. I watched it when it was out on HBO. It's only like 4 episodes, I think, so like it's totally doable.
Really?
Yeah, from memory. I don't.
Yeah,
know.
No. I know it's nothing crazy in terms of a commitment. What the hell is going on here, dude? Hey, what? You ever have your browser just start like the page just automatically scrolls all the way to the bottom?
No.
I don't know. Like every page I just turn to, it's like it just keeps going to the bottom. Every time I go to the side and pull the bar up, it goes right back down.
It's weird.
Fucking what the fuck? Every single one is doing that.
Did you see that new one with him, The Holdovers? That was interesting.
What is that? What are you talking about?
Giamatti. It's like a teenage coming of age private school movie. So he plays this like hard ass teacher with like a fucking glass eye. It was interesting. Everyone's jerking off about it. It wasn't like legendary, but it was.
You're talking about a Giamatti movie?
Yeah, it was 2023, The Holdovers. It takes place in 1970 at a private school in New England. It's pretty good.
I didn't realize Giamatti was from New Haven.
Is he?
Yeah. His dad was a professor at Yale, and then he went to Yale. Yale School of Drama, man. Doesn't get much better than that.
I like it.
Giamatti was in, oh, God, that's right. He played Pig Vomit in Howard Stern's movie. That was so good. What? He did.
I believe you. Oh, I got one. In the theater in particular, it didn't work well on my... I had a 1080 version of this, but it just didn't work well. Maybe because it was.
I have a straight up low D version.
DVD.
I love it.
But the scene where they're walking, I think they're walking out of the church, and they're walking along a ridge line, and then the white flashes in the background, and they're just silhouetted walking up the berm. There, it's like a 2 or 3 second scene. You remember that one?
With Giamatti?
No.
Or you're
it's just
after the radar.
It's just the fucking Fellowship of the Ring leaving the church. They just like walk out and they're like, "Bah, da-na-na,
Yes.
da-na-na," over a hill. Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to recut this movie with the Lord of the Rings music now.
I mean, hey, you weren't into the music. I didn't even pick up on the music in this one. So
It was John Williams. I
love
thought
John
it was
Williams,
a little bit.
man. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I like him too, but I felt it was a little too like John Williams. You know,
Yeah.
It was like, okay, like I really like. You know what? The music I really liked was Medal of Honor, the game, which I think might
Came
have
out
been
of
done
this.
by John Williams. I thought that music was better, and
Sure.
it would have served this movie better.
Yeah, maybe.
To be perfectly honest, with you.
I had forgotten or didn't realize that this directly led to Medal of Honor. That Spielberg
Are we sure about that?
put together.
Are we sure about that?
Sure about what? Williams with Medal of Honor? I'm sure about
No.
Spielberg
Medal of
being
Honor.
the one that helped get Medal of Honor out the door. Yeah. What was the game that we played at Man Geek Sunday, the World War II game? Was it Medal of Honor?
I think so, dude.
I remember playing that with you guys and just being like, holy shit, these fucking weapons suck.
Yeah, it was
Was it
2000.
like
It was
5-round clip
1999.
bullshit?
So it definitely came out after this movie.
Oh no, there's some nuggets about saying that Spielberg took this straight into doing that.
That movie was that game was so good. It made me feel like I was like in the movie. This movie. It was awesome.
Yeah, created by
and the music
Spielberg.
was fantastic.
Developed
And
by
the
DreamWorks.
composer was Michael Giacchino. That's who the composer was
yeah.
for Medal of Honor. So, I wish that music had been in this movie, because I felt like, as much as I like John Williams and we've loved him from Star Wars and Indy and all these things that he's done, I felt that the music here at times, not all the time, was just a little sort of Magoo. You know, it was a little vanilla, man.
Yeah, sure.
And not very memorable, you know. Whereas like Medal of Honor, the music so contributed to the feeling I got while I was playing the game. Like, it was palpable, man. You know, like, part of what I remember when I think of Medal of Honor the game is the music, because it was such an integral part, and it was so well done. Well, it's because you're a loser, dude. You know,
Fucking idiot.
You don't notice anything. So anyway,
He's done a bunch of
that's
interesting
what-
work, dude. He did. That doesn't seem
John
right. He
Williams?
did Star Trek with J.J. Abrams. He did Ratatouille.
What are you talking about? Giacchino?
Yeah,
What?
John Carter from Mars.
What are we talking about?
Giacchino.
Hold on.
Rogue One, really? Yeah.
It says an
Replaced the
American
dude.
composer, but it doesn't say what is.
Here.
Hold on. Alias. Got it. I'm on it. I'm on Wiki. I got it.
Spider-Man. Coco. That's a
Far
fucking
From
good
Home.
movie, dude.
No Way
Jojo
Home.
Rabbit. Oh,
He's-
that's a good Nazi movie. Have
He
you seen
scored
Jojo
all
Rabbit,
the.
dude?
Fu-
That
he
one's
scored
fucking
all
really
of
good.
the. He scored Rogue One, and he just scored.
He did Matt Reeves' The Batman? Oh, he did Something in the Way. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So he's just done some of the stuff. I got it.
Jojo Rabbit, the Batman.
Did you see Jojo Rabbit?
No.
Dude, that's good.
Anyway, we're getting way off track here. Sort of. I think.
You mean we don't want to
how
talk
do we-
about Ryan Gosling in Star Wars?
No, we don't. How did we get on? Oh, it's almost 11 o'clock.
We were just talking about the music.
Um,
Yeah, it's just bits and bobs, dude. You got a couple more? Let's whatever.
we were talking about the music. Yeah, that's what it was.
Sticky bombs, bro.
No, I did like the
Did you make
sticky
that up,
bombs.
sir?
That was one of my favorite
Yeah,
things.
it's in the field
it's in the
manual.
field. It's in the field manual. You can read it.
We don't
Well, I
have
don't
any
think we
field
have any
manuals
field
lying
manuals
around,
here,
sir.
sir.
Care to enlighten us,
Sir.
sir?
NDR.
Well, just we don't need to do like shout out to the Edith Piaf stuff. Shout out to the Matt Damon kind of surprising everybody with his ugly stick barn burning
Story that he
scene.
made up.
That was cool.
Yeah, he made that up.
And shout out to Ted Danson. Nuggets? You got any nuggets?
I have a couple. I have a couple good casting nuggets that I liked.
Let's do it.
Billy Bob was turned down the role of Sergeant Horvath.
I'm glad he did. I like Billy Bob.
Turned it down. I know, because I like Size better in that role. He's more of like a war guy, sort of, I feel. But
Yeah, he's a war guy.
I could have seen Billy Bob do that. But the reason
Billy
why
Bob's
he
great.
didn't do it, he's got a phobia of water. That's why he didn't do it.
Kind of random. I guess if you grew up in Arkansas, it makes sense.
Arkansas. So Mel Gibson and Harrison Ford were both considered for the role of Captain Miller, neither of which I thought would be.
No fucking way.
No way. I agree, right?
How dare you, sir?
This is actually pretty
Nothing?
cool, man. A lot of people. What?
You're not giving me anything with a how dare you, sir? Come on, dude. That's a death.
Oh,
you should die for not
How
giving me anything.
dare you? I wasn't paying attention.
I'm not gonna. Don't bark at me like a junkyard dog.
Don't you bark at me like a dog. No,
That's a death.
no,
You got a chip in the game.
What you're gonna do?
That's
You got yourself a chip in the game. What you're gonna do? You gotta put that little chip in the pocket, and then you gotta pull it out when you need it on down the line. If you need a soda or something like that.
That's a death. You died.
I'm dead.
You're not allowed to not respond to that old death. That old joke that is dead. Also,
That's a good death. The "How dare you, sir" death.
how dare you, sir?
That also had a life of its own in the weekly back and forth with the editing as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Anytime a "sir" was thrown in, that was always sort of the
chuck it
implied,
out.
like
Ben
kind
would
of.
roll his fucking eyes at how much we beat these jokes to death.
I know. Well, that's his loss. Okay, so what are we doing? Can I continue
You're doing
now
nuts.
that I've died?
I just interrupted you.
Oh, the only other I don't know. This is so impressive. Very cool thing for an actor too. So the part of Caparzo was written specifically for Vin Diesel, man. I mean, like, what better
Considering he was
honor
unknown.
as an actor? Okay, the guy's totally unknown. He makes a movie, an independent film called Strays
I've never seen
in
it. Did you see that?
1997. Never even heard of it until right
He
now.
directed it.
He directed it. He wrote it, he produced it, and he was the lead actor in it. Spielberg saw it and wrote the part of Caparzo
That's
for him.
amazing, dude.
So dope, dude. I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I want to check that out.
I know, me too.
I
there's a
read all
lot
the
of
notes.
really
There's plenty of
great-
good stuff. I've
Go
got
ahead.
one. We'll do
There's
back and
tons.
forth. I got one
Go
that
ahead.
I think is worth sharing with the class, this is the last film that was edited on a non-digital editing system to win an Academy Award. So for editing. So this won an Academy Award for editing, and it is the last movie to be analog edited and also win that editing.
I saw that.
That's really
I saw that.
because I mean, obviously,
Very
like you had
cool.
like the old Avid machines and stuff.
Mhm,
I think it's fascinating that this is a analog edit. It's cool.
It's a milestone, dude, for sure. It's definitely history.
End of an era.
Very, very cool. Yeah, end of an era, totally. What else? Ooh, man, here's another good. I'm just doing casting nuggets this week. Neil Patrick Harris was considered for the role of Private Ryan.
No way.
He could have played I think he could have played Upham, maybe.
Yeah, you could have played an Upham.
Similar build. They're both kind of skinny dudes, No. NPH was built for different things. Plain and simple. Okay, deaths.
On the
Do you have any
technical
more
side,
nugs?
actually, before we do that, just the last one.
Yeah, go.
Where the cinematographer evidently did. I don't know what the story is, but like you have the shutter open at 180 degrees when you shoot normally, and he changed the angle and it made everything really crisp, and then they washed it out. So like the washed out look, which is very quintessential to this movie, was due to the cinematography, and fuck, it's
Interesting.
great. And there was
awesome.
some kind of like funny shit where like when it was on TV, they pumped the saturation up because they thought it was a mistake, but it was on purpose. So I like how washed out it is because it does have that old school kind of like newsreely World War II vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do like that washed out look. It's very cool.
That's it.
Very cool. All right, deaths.
2?
We have solid deaths for a twofer. It's 2 and 2. Chad had the "I'm an idiot" because he couldn't say dramatization death.
It's pretty dumb. Dramatization. Hey, I can say it.
Hey,
Dramatize more. Dramatize more is what I'm going to say from now on.
dramatize more. I like that. And then Chad also had the "TV is cool" death TV is cool too. Death, also known as the Athletic Greens death.
Drama Tom Sizemore.
Yeah,
hold
totally. Hold on. Let me drama.
You clickety clackety.
Wow, I got caught in the same trap you're in. Dramatize more.
I saw a nugget actually that was saying when they did the German dub of this movie, one of the German dub voice actors actually like pulled out because he couldn't handle how hardcore.
I know. That was crazy.
Which was interesting.
That was crazy.
Same with Stephen Ambrose. Stephen Ambrose, the guy that wrote Band of Brothers, said that he had a private screening of this, and he's like 20 minutes in, he's like, please pause it. And he had to go and like compose himself
outside because the first 20 minutes were so intense.
Yeah.
Additionally, folks, there were a lot. Well, let me finish the deaths real quick. I then had my 2 deaths. I had the reservoir death because I screwed up that Size was in True Romance. Truly egregious, especially since we did that movie. And then also I had the How Dare You Sir death, which is terribly egregious, especially with C-Lab.
Not cool, man.
I know, not cool at all. Additionally, if you guys... I would actually this is the first time I've ever endorsed Let's Make Nuggets Not Fun because I absolutely hate that thing now. But there are a lot of great tidbits in that section for this particular film. So check that out if you want to read more. There was a lot of great nuggets in there. And then whatever else you can find on the internet.
I've got an Anik Bob.
And that's it.
No, it's not. Hang on.
Anik Bob.
Anik
Whoa.
Bob. And Anik Bob. I spoke about it very briefly, but like I have to fucking shout out the James Francis Ryan I can't hear you very well scene. I fucking love that scene, dude.
I mean, the guy that lost his hearing and he couldn't hear.
Like, I can't. The guy next to him was like, "Yeah, you can't hear very well. A grenade went off. I can't hear very well. A grenade went off right next to me."
Oh, James Francis Ryan.
No, James Francis Ryan. I love that shit, dude. So hard.
So good.
Anyways, that's it. Just fucking shout out that guy.
No, that was good. What else? Recommendations. I would 1,000% recommend you watch this movie multiple times.
You've seen it before.
Watch it multiple times.
It holds up.
And if you haven't seen it, just watch it multiple times because it's so damn good. It's a great example of warfare filmmaking in terms of like showing you what it's really like. And yeah, that's about it. It's great. Great actors, great performances, great everything. Go.
I'd recommend watching this, which will get you amped, and then going and watching Pacific, because you probably either didn't watch it or watched it so long ago that you need to see it again.
But for continuity's sake, if I may, if you've never seen any of these things, watch this first, then Band of Brothers, then go watch Pacific.
Yeah.
And that's it.
If you've never watched Band of Brothers, man, you're in for a fucking treat. There's no one that hasn't watched Band of Brothers that listens to this show.
Certainly no man, guy.
If you have not seen Band of Brothers, you need to write to us because I need to know what the fuck's going on.
Well, we need to personally come to your house and slap you across the face, man. But I mean, look, I'm in all honesty, like I could very well see.
Like, I'd actually like come on the show and we'll talk about it after you watch it. Like I want to hear what a freshie says about it. You know?
Exactly. Also that, yeah. I think too, like I know we do have like listeners of all ages, and I could see some of the younger dudes and dudettes not
maybe
having seen Band of Brothers or really kind of knowing about this stuff. So if you're interested and if you listen to this show, take our advice and check both those out. I'm actually going to dig into the Pacific probably right after we get off the mic.
Do it.
So anyway, thanks for joining us for Saving Private Ryan, or as we know it, Shaving Ryan's Privates. And stay tuned next week for an as yet unnamed show. And that's it. So long for now.
See ya.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you'd like to check out the show notes, you can do so in your podcast app of choice or at our website, ebd.fm//301. And if you would like to support the show, there's a number of great ways you can do so. You can support us directly on Patreon. You can also buy us a cup of coffee.
Danke.
You can also tell people to check out the show, and you can also rate us and review us. That's it. If you want to join in on the social media mayhem, of which there currently is very little, you can do so on Instagram at EBD Podcast. And that's it. Thanks for joining us for Private Ryan, and we'll see you on another time.
beady, beady, beady. Stop into it.